Welcome back, gang. I'm glad you're here. Can you imagine that you are almost the proud finishers of this course on missional discipleship? Let's recap for a minute. Not that you need it, I just need it. I need to remember why we're here and what we're up to. And you think about the great big scheme of God, and with a whole cosmos to create and manage. And at whatever point, and it's hard to talk about whatever, because like a time point when there's no time and a being like that, but just with all the possibilities in front of him, dreams up a universe like you and I inhabit, where at the very center of all of that creative juice and energy is a group of beings who are struggling with the great issues of good and evil and right and wrong, and a chance to actually be personally connected to the creator of all of this. You know, I walk between concourses down in Hartsfield, Atlanta, Hartsfield, Jackson International Airport, and for years there hung this display of the Hubble telescope. It's been replaced by photographs of Antarctica. They're not nearly as compelling, I will tell you, as to staring into the images of spiral galaxies that are trillions of miles away, light years removed from us, galaxies who were dreamt into existence a gazillion years before we were even thought of. And to stare into all of those realities, it just would bring me to tears sometime as I would walk by and just see the greatness of our God. Now I'll tell you what is more profound than that is to know that to have those images in my mind sometimes when I sit down across the table with someone who has a cup of coffee and who wants to start by saying, I'm dealing with a real issue here, or let me tell you, Reggie, about something really fabulous that just happened. These life-changing, life-transformative stories with all that he's got going on, that God would decide to have that kind of relationship with beings that he created singularly, as far as we know, with his image. That's you. And all of that creative energy of the universe is absolutely directed at not just at you, but includes you in the great flow of what he is up to in time and space. That's just beyond the capacity to grasp. It tells me how little actually we know. As I've spouted with great authority on these things that you must do to become this person, can I just tell you, my hunch is that we have no idea how fabulously great this whole kingdom agenda is. That this future that we are being swept toward is beyond not just imagination, but beyond our capacity even to express if we could see it. We do have those glimpses where John is so overcome on Patmos that words fail him. We do have that sense occasionally when we stare at a newborn, or we are there at the bedside of someone and feel the swish of the death angel in and out. We have those moments that we are so captured and stand outside of time ourselves that we have a bit of confirmation that there is something beyond us. And so it's because of all that all of this is worth it, because you're worth it. Because he has dreamt you up. You didn't show up randomly. And he has decided when to put you in time and space, what family to assign you to, what leadership of origin, if you are a leader, with all possibilities. So if he has gone to that great care for you, then my hunch is that you have at your disposal now a lot of resources to become this person that he saw you could be. And so we've talked about that over these weeks, or these sessions. We've talked about this missional thing of what it means to be sent and to live our whole lives on mission, to see our whole lives as a mission trip. We've talked about creating an environment where people develop as opposed to just being processed how a disciple is not just a collection of processes, but that you are actually developing as a person. And then we've talked about some very specific things that get us there. And I want to end our session with a few more of those specific kinds of ideas. I want to talk to you about the whole thing again, right where we started, the whole point of mission. And there's a discipline of mission that I think involves some decisions on your part that I would argue flow out of the values that we've been talking about and out of the hopes that we have. You see, the point of mission is as you become the person that God sees that you could be, it opens up this window for the kingdom to pour in and bless people, swoop other people into this river of blessing that's growing toward the end of all things. So I want to say that you are, by definition then, as a person, an agent of that kingdom, you are the enemy of another kingdom. And you need to be prepared for what that means. Up till now, I've been talking about what you can do, what you need to pay attention to, all of that. But I will tell you that once you become that kingdom viral agent, you are invading enemy territory. And you are subject then to some really challenging temptations, to some really challenging things. For instance, I talked in our last session about isolation. It is a key strategy that the enemy is going to use it. Don't give in to it. You're going to be challenged with the whole idea or the whole temptation, the range of temptations that go with the distractions that are currently available. If I were you, one of your projects, one of the things you've got to do as part of this course, you've got to identify those distractions that you are intentionally going to become accountable for, so that those things that you have said all along now, yes, 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 you're going to have to learn how to say no, 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 so your yes can be yes. If you're saying yes to Jesus and yes to this lifestyle and yes to this service and yes to being sent, then you're going to have to be even more intentional about the things that are distractions. Now, by the way, it's not bad things at all that necessarily are the distractions. It's good things. I think about Jesus early in Mark's gospel, who has a big old honking miracle day. People are being cured right and left. The media trucks are all there. The satellites are positioned. They think they're going to open up day 2 of miracles. And the disciples are all out working the crowd, and the people are queuing up, and it's about time for Six Flags Over Jesus to open up. And sure enough, it comes time, the gates go up, and the problem is, though, there's no Jesus. Because he's off. He slipped out early. Now, you can read this for yourself to see if I'm making it up, but it's over there late in Mark's in the first chapter. And so Simon Peter, of course it's Peter, who says, I'll go get him. And so the troop of disciples, tromp out, and they come upon Jesus, who very early in the morning had got up to pray. And Peter says, everyone's looking for you. Now, you might read that, and without that backdrop, just think, well, what a nice piece of information Pete's bringing to his boss in case he's unaware of what's going on. Are you kidding? This is an upbraid by Peter. What are you thinking? This is what we've been waiting for. We're fixing to go big time here. The band has played through every song they know. You can pray on your own time. For crying out loud, get back here. You're the main attraction. All right, and so Jesus, says immediately, well, then tell him I'll be right there as soon as I finish with my devotion. Do you know what Jesus says? He says, everyone's looking for it, huh? Well, then let's go somewhere else. It's right there. I mean, if I had a red letter Bible, I'd show it to you right here. But you go look it up for yourself because you need that work of discipleship, plowing through Scripture. Mark 1, have I mentioned that yet? So and let's go somewhere to the nearby villages, I'm quoting NIV now, -- so that we can preach there also, -- because that's why I have come. Oh, that's why I have come. See, Jesus' sense of mission allowed him to know what to say no to so he could say yes to accomplish what only he could do. Now, my goodness, would going back into town, healing a few bunch more people be a bad thing for you? Of course not. Imagine how you would have felt if you were the last person when they closed the gate the day before. You've been standing there all night waiting for Jesus to show back up. No, you wouldn't have considered that a bad thing at all for Jesus to show back up and start day 2. In fact, you're counting on it. You probably tweeted it to all your friends. I'll be the first one off the healing stage on the next day. Are you kidding? But Jesus, see, it's good things that can sometimes be distractions to keep us from the best things. Your decision to become a missional follower of Jesus, you have said, I want the best life. Because, by the way, I don't know a better life than that. I don't know a better decision than that. I mean, how many more reality TV shows with people with money that are clueless, or people with fame who are miserable, or people who are apprenticing for somebody that can't keep their mouth clean? And I mean, how much? There is not a better choice of life than someone. I don't know of anybody that I ever encounter that is more engaged with life, more at peace with themselves, more full of joy than people who've made the decision that you said you want to do. I want to be a missional. I want to be a follower of Jesus. So, you've made that decision. You've got to say yes to that, so it requires you say no to some other things. There's one other thing that the enemy will try on you. There's several, but we've talked about distraction and isolation. The other one, and we've already talked about it, but I just want to put the exclamation on it for our time here, and that's that whole debilitation. He tries to weaken you, just wear you out. There are a couple of ways he does it. But for the long haul, if you're smart about this, you won't fall for it. One of the ways he tries to wear you out is to keep you involved in stuff that brings you no joy, does not play to your strengths. Just keep that in mind. Every time you are paying too much rent, you're subtracting energy from the kingdom enterprise that you said yes to. Another way that he wears you out is debilitating people around you that are negative energy that can suck the life out of you. Another way he wears you out is that lack of intentionality where at the end of the day you don't know what goal you hit because you didn't know it. Just be aware that he debilitates you every way he can. All right, I don't want to talk about this anymore because I don't need to give more credence to the enemy, but I don't want you caught off guard. Now let's talk about, in our final minute here, what difference you're going to make. The kingdom, the big story, the meta story that we find ourselves in, is not a kingdom of ethereal, even though I've referenced the cosmos. It's not a kingdom that's way out there, that's untouchable, that's unseeable. When Jesus sent word to John, he said, the lame are walking, the blind are seeing, the lepers are made whole. The kingdom is a practical, everyday, making other people's lives better way of living. When it all boils down to it, you and I have the chance to, as the people of God, to either bless people or not. You're making the decision to live a life of blessing. It is the best decision you've ever made. There's a whole world counting on you to live it out. I hope our sessions are going to help you do that. Because when you do, the world will be better. The kingdom's going to be stronger. And the king is going to be beside himself with joy in you. Thanks for letting me share a part of that journey with you.